The worst team in the play-in, I think, is the Golden State Warriors, and I don't want to do this to Steph Curry, but they're legitimately going to throw out a lineup that is Steph Curry, Pods, Tingus Pingus, D'Anthony Melton, and Draymond Green. What the fuck is that? Against Kawhi, Garland, Zubac, John Collins, Chris Dunn, with Benedict Mathurin coming off the bench? Yeah, not a fucking chance the Warriors win that game. Unfortunately for Curry, and they're 1-3 since Curry came back, by the way. They lost to the Kings. The Kings are garbage. So the Warriors are, I think, the worst team in the play-in, followed by the Miami Heat. Their defense is just awful. They've allowed like I think they're allowing like 120 points per game since March or something ridiculous. Their defense stinks. Bam Adebayo scored 80. I don't care. Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, cool, bro. Cool. The Heat are just not that good, and they're not that good defensively either, and that's where the Heat have been able to hang their hat, and I understand they've owned the play-in, and I'm scared to put them this low because of how dominant Eric Spoelstra has been in playoff scenarios. He's one of the best coaches in the NBA, but the Heat have also not been good down the stretch. They started off like 10 games over 500, and now they're playing in the 9-10 game to get into the play and to have a chance to play in the playoffs. So I think the Heat have fallen off a cliff here. They are at 7. At number 6, I have the 76ers, which is ironic because I think if the Sixers were fully healthy, they'd easily be the best team in the play-in. But Maxi's going to be playing through a finger injury. Joel Embiid is a game-time decision. And when Joel Embiid's a game-time decision, that basically means he's not playing. If he does play, I think they have a really good shot to beat this Magic team that is also not very good and has been very inconsistent and still looking for some three-point help shooting the basketball. I don't know how Franz and Paolo just didn't get better at shooting the three ball. How was that not an emphasis of, okay, we need to improve this in the summer of 2025 going into this 25-26 season because they're still garbage at shooting the three. That's why I have at 5, by the way. I think Sixers 6, Magic 5. The Sixers are a really hard team to gauge. So let's focus on them right now because they have not been healthy all year. BJ Edgecombe has shown a lot of promise. He had like a 30 burger against OKC, had a 30 burger a couple of days later. Tyrese Maxey, obviously a dog, one of the best guards, one of the best scoring guards in the NBA. I think he can carry the Sixers to win one game and like get into the play. Like I think he can carry them in one game, maybe two. Can he carry them to win a full series? I don't think so. They're going to need a good performance out of Paul George, who's been striping it from three. He's almost 40%. How much is Paul George giving you defensively at this point in his career, especially if he's going to be matched up against Paolo Banchero? I just think that is a brutal, brutal matchup. It's Dominic Barlow, Kelly Oubre, or Paul George on Paolo Banchero in a win or go home type of scenario. That doesn't seem like a good matchup for me. I'm a Paolo Banchero guy, even though it has been a down year for him statistically in terms of points per game and his efficiency from beyond the arc. The Sixers are a hard team to gauge, man. I can't lie, because if Embiid plays, I think they should dominate. But if Embiid doesn't play, then the Magic just have so much size with Wendell Carter and Banchero down low. So it's really all predicated on Joel Embiid and if he plays. But I think the Sixers and Magic are both interchangeable at 5 and 6. And I have the Portland Trailblazers above both of those teams. And I understand if the Sixers were fully healthy, I would have the Sixers above the Blazers for sure. And if the Magic were fully healthy all season, I'd probably have them over the Blazers as well. But I think the Blazers are just a more well-rounded basketball team that played in a much tougher conference. So I am giving the teams that are in the West, a little bit more grace here than I am the teams in the East. That's why I have the Suns Blazers matchup. Literally, I've the Suns Blazers matchup ahead of the Magic Sixers matchup because I'm giving some more grace to the Western Conference. But I have the Blazers at 4. I have the Suns at 3. The Portland Blazers, the Trailblazers, man, are a really underrated team. They're really good defensively. They shoot a lot of threes. They make a lot of them. They have an all-star and a go-to guy that's averaging 25 points per game. Shaedon Sharpe has been, he had a breakout in his third year, averaging a calm 20 burger on 45% from the field. Pretty efficient numbers. Donovan Clingan has been awesome as a rim protector. He's averaged 13 and 12 since February. He's shaping into a real plus starter at just 22 years old. Jrue Holiday, Jeremiah Grant, they provide a little bit of veteran leadership and some continuity and somebody you can lean on down the stretch. And I'm bullish. I'm a little bit bullish on the direction the Portland Trailblazers are headed right now. And I think you can trust them a little bit more because they've been playing together all year than you can the Orlando Magic or the Philadelphia 76ers, because both of those teams have a little bit of injury concern and both of those teams don't really shoot the three at all. And I think the Suns and the Blazers, who I have ranked above them, I have the Blazers at 4, the Suns at 3, two very similar teams. Like I've said earlier in the podcast, very similar teams, Both run teams off the 3-point line. Very good perimeter defense. Both teams shoot a bunch of threes and make a bunch of them. I think both of them are top 7 in 3-point attempts and 3-pointers made. They aren't the greatest in terms of offensive efficiency. If you're looking at inside the 3-point arc, both of them are, I think they're 29th and 28th in field goal percentage. So they're not the greatest in terms of offensive efficiency, but that field goal percentage number is going to be low if you're both top 5 in the NBA in 3-pointers attempted. Like, you're shooting the ball from farther away from the basket. Your overall field goal percentage number is going to be down, but they've made a bunch of threes. So I think that makes the Suns and the Blazers way more dangerous than the Magic or the Sixers. However, I would trust the Magic or the Sixers to potentially win a playoff series more than I would the Blazers or the Suns, because the Blazers and the Suns would have to play the Spurs or the Thunder. However, the Suns are 2-2 against the Oklahoma City or against the San Antonio Spurs this year. So maybe there's something like matchup wise there, and they would have way more experience than the San Antonio Spurs would have in the playoffs, because the Spurs quite literally have zero, none, zilch. That being said, I think the Spurs would win that series in 5 or 6 games. But don't be surprised if there is some type of crazy upset. If we see a Suns Spurs matchup, the Suns are 2-2 against the Spurs, and one of the Spurs wins against the Suns. It was like 101 to 100. It was a really close game. So keep an eye on that. If the Suns have to play the Spurs, that could be a little bit of a matchup problem, because the Suns have been able to give them some problems, which is ironic because Mark Williams down low isn't exactly. I mean, he's a good defender, but it's Wemby. But it's the perimeter defense and it's the perimeter defense the Suns have, and the Suns' ability to make a bunch of threes that makes them really, really dangerous. Not to mention, I think Devin Booker is one of the most underrated players of this generation. You talk about loyalty. That guy's made the postseason 5 straight years, 3 different head coaches. And if you put Jason Tatum on the Phoenix Suns, you think they would make the playoffs every year in the Western Conference? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I mean, he's played in the Mickey Mouse East with a loaded roster every single year of his career, and he only has one NBA championship to show for it. 0 MVPs. Devin Booker's been through a gazillion iterations of this Phoenix Suns team, and ever since like his first 4 or 5 years, they've been pretty consistently at least somewhat competitive, despite them being the most incompetent organization debatably in the sport. Where Jason Tatum has the luxury of playing with Jaylen Brown, who is just as good as him, if not better, proved that this year that he is an MVP candidate. Who was Devin Booker's best running mate? A 75-year-old Chris Paul? Kevin Durant? Barely healthy? Bradley Beal? Never on the floor? No depth? DeAndre Ayton? Like, Devin Booker has never had the team that Jason Tatum has had. And Devin Booker has done just as much, basically, besides one finals. And no, I mean, besides one finals, one ring. Like, they both, whatever. I think Devin Booker's incredibly underrated. I think if you swapped him and Jason Tatum, nobody would talk about Jason Tatum the way they talk about him. Like, he's God's gift to basketball. Either way, I like the Suns. If this is your first impression of me, also keep in mind, I am an entire Boston. So you're not going to meet a bigger Boston sports fan hater than me. So I have the Sun. Back to the list: Blazers at 4, Suns at 3. I have the Clippers at 2. I think that if the Los Angeles Clippers reach their ceiling, not only do they have the star power in Kawhi Leonard, who I think is an absolute problem, even at this point in his career. I was live on TikTok and I got into a conversation with somebody on there. I was like, who would you rather have at this point in their career, Steph Curry or Kawhi Leonard? And the answer is Kawhi Leonard. And that's why I think they're going to beat the brakes off the Warriors. Also, they have so much depth, man. Darius Garland, Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubac, Chris Dunn, John Collins, Benedict Mathurin. They've got guys, man. They've got guys that have a really deep lineup, and I think Kawhi can get to him. Keep in mind, this this Clippers team, isn't that far off of the Clippers team last year that went to 7 games with the Nuggets, that also went to 7 games with the Thunder, who won the NBA championship. Albeit Tyrese Halliburton, Achilles tear aside, I think this, they got Bogdanovich on the bench too. I forgot about it. Like, I think that this Clippers team, if Kawhi Leonard is on the floor, is very dangerous. I also could I'm stuck in okay, maybe Kawhi's got 1 left in him. I'll be stuck in that until he retires. I'm always going to think Kawhi has 1 left in him. And then without a doubt, the best team in the playoffs, or the best team in the play-in my eyes, is the Charlotte Hornets. The Charlotte Hornets started the season 16-28. Since January 21st, they are 28-10. Which is the 3rd best record in the NBA and would be the 2nd best record in the East behind the Boston Celtics. They have a better record since January 22nd than the Oklahoma City Thunder. They lead the NBA in three-pointers made. They're shooting 37% from beyond the arc. They have a Rookie of the Year candidate in Con Knippel. If they could share the award, I honestly wouldn't even be that mad at it. They have some really good defensive bigs on the interior in the front court. Grant Williams, Moussa Diabate. Ryan Kalkbrenner has been incredible for them this year as a rookie. He's like 70% from the field almost. He's a good presence down low. Brandon Miller's having one of his best years. Con Knippel's a sniper from three, over 40%. LaMelo Ball, can he play winning basketball? Well, I think so, because the Hornets finally put a good roster together. LaMelo Ball has the second most starts in his career since his second year in the league, and all of a sudden the Hornets have the best record since January, besides the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think the Hornets are the best team in the play-in. I think they're the most dangerous team in the play-in. I think they could give a team a real run for their money. And if there's a team that come out of the play-in and be like the Heat 5 years ago or 4 years ago, whenever it was when they made the finals, or if there's a team that come out of the play-in and be kind of like the Pacers last year, who started peaking around the same time the Hornets started peaking this year, I think the Charlotte Hornets are a really dark horse team to come out and make some noise in March. I'm stuck in college basketball mode. In the NBA playoffs, the Hornets are a problem, and I've been a LaMelo Glazer for a good minute now, and everybody tried to write him off as, oh, this guy can't play winning basketball. This guy can't play winning. He never had a good team. He was never on the floor. Finally has a good team. He's finally on the floor, and they're winning basketball games. And even if they lose in the play-in and they don't make it to the playoffs, or they make the playoffs, they get swept by the Pistons. What they have done this season is a benchmark to show that tanking does work. Brandon Miller, top 5 pick. It was a number 2 overall pick. LaMelo Ball, number 2 overall pick, number 3 overall pick, whatever it was. Con Knippel, number 4 overall pick. These guys are finally playing together, and they look pretty fucking damn good. They're all sub 25, but they're all 24 and younger. Look out. This Hornets team is not going anywhere. The same way this Pistons team, I said last year, this Pistons team is going to be a problem. I said last year, I said Pistons Rockets NBA Finals in a few years. I don't know if the Rockets will get there, but the Pistons look like one of the best teams in the East as well. So we'll get into them tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. Those are the top 8 teams in the NBA play-in. I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys later. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, think I'm a clown, or think I'm a good ball knower. I love you guys.